All right, this is a story inside of a story. The first story is the mashal of the Baal Shem Tov on the shofar. The shofar. Every year I would sound the shofar, but it's misleading because when I sound the shofar, the straight sound breaks. It's supposed to go doo, and when I sound it, it goes doo, doo, doo. So it's misleading. So I'm not going to sound the shofar, but I'll try it anyway. I mean, if you don't hear properly, that's the reason why, because it's in the recorder, the microphone. Not here we go. Ready? All right. I don't know if you heard it or not, but there it goes. Okay, it's supposed to go doot, 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 doot. That's the sound. There's a story about the Baal Shem Tov, a mashal, a metaphor. What is a shofar? Once upon a time, there was a king, and this king was a majestic, powerful, good-hearted king, and he had a son that was a very, how do you say, a very wild young boy. And the son used to go up on this big tower that was in the, it was a lookout place, and he would see the kids playing. And one day he decided, that's it, he doesn't want to be in the palace anymore. He wants to play with the kids. So he escapes from the palace and he starts playing with the kids. He takes off his clothes, his garments, and he sells them, whatever it is, and he's got a little bit of money, and he plays with the kids. And he sees one day he sees that there's posters. Have you seen this boy? And it's pictures of him. So he runs away. He wants to keep playing. So he runs away, and then his money ends. And so he starts begging, and he's a little boy, he's 10 years old, whatever, and people give him money. So he's playing with other kids and other things, and he's collecting money, and he's doing pretty good. He's enjoying himself. But eventually he really starts getting into the collecting money part. And he's collecting money, and he's wandering from place to place, and he's always worried that maybe they're going to catch him. And as the years pass, he sort of forgets that he's the king's son, and he forgets about the whole business, and he goes to places where he doesn't know the language, so he can't really, so he becomes very, how do you say, self-sufficient. He's very autonomous, and he sleeps in, outside, and he sleeps in the forests, and after about 15 years of this, so he's wandering around, and he looks like just like a total animal, a wild man, just, smelly and with long fingernails and long hair and dirty and tremendously strong. He's fought with bears and it doesn't feel. With his wandering around, the king's son wanders, he's now 25 years old. He comes back to the palace. He's wandering around so many places. He goes back to his home country and he sees the palace and he figures, well, I could probably get a nice donation over there. And he starts knocking on the gates. And he doesn't remember that this is his place. He doesn't remember that this is. Meanwhile, his father has not forgotten him. And every day for 15 years, he's been going up to this tower and looking around. Maybe he'll see his son somewhere. Good. So his son is pounding on the gates down there. He doesn't know it's his son. Doesn't know it. And the son doesn't remember that he's a prince. He's pounding on the gates. All the guards come. They push him away. And the guards are nothing for him. He pushes away all the guards. More guards come and they have clubs. Nothing. He pushes them away and knocks them down. One time, like there's 15, 20 guards that come in, and one hit, he knocks all the guards away, and he lifts his head up in victory, and he catches the glimpse of his father's face. His father had looked down, and another day he didn't find his son. He turned away. There was a little tear in his eye, and he turned away, and he looked up, and he saw the side of his father's face. And suddenly, all of a sudden, something happened to him. And he said, what's this? Who is that man? Why does this remind me of something? And he's, just in seconds, he remembers this. It's my father. And this place is where I grew up. It's the castle. And I'm his son. I'm the prince. But in those few seconds, the guards regained their strength and they started hitting with their clubs. And he realized that he lost. He can't win. And who knows if they're going to kill him. So he screams to his father, but he forgot the language. He doesn't remember language. So he screams out, This is all the Baal Shem Tov's metaphor for what's Mashiach, for what's shofar. And his father hears this scream, and he said, "What is that?" And he runs over and he looks down, and his eyes meet the eyes of his son, and he says, "Those are eyes of royalty. That is my son." And he runs down the steps of the tower, and he opens up the gates, and he pushes away all the guards, and he hugs the boy. He's all smelling. He's not a boy, he's all a young man. Hugs him, and he's smelly, he's terrible. And he says, my son, I have never forgotten you." And the son thinks to himself, Father, how could I have been such a fool? End of the story. This is a metaphor. What is a metaphor? Of course, the father is God. The son is the Jewish people. The castle is the synagogue. And we on Rosh Hashanah come to the synagogue. That's the day when we appoint the king. And we forgot the language. We forgot who we are. We're the sons of the king. So we scream out with the shofar, oh, and Hashem recognizes it, and he comes down and he hugs us. Beautiful story. Okay. Now, I had a Chabad house. This is about 30 years ago. I had a Chabad house for 30 years, for 3 years, 30 years ago, in a town called Or Yehuda, not far away from Kfar Chabad. And I was very successful in the schools. In the schools, they invited me, the non-religious schools, they invited me to and I would go every Rosh Hashanah, I would go around, and I would sound the shofar, and I would would speak to the kids. So I always did the same thing. I would stand in front of them, I play guitar a little bit, I would sing a couple songs with the guitar, kids liked it. Then I would tell them, that's this story I just told you, in a sort of like abbreviated form, but not that, pretty much the same. How long did the story take? 2 minutes. And then at the end, I would sound the shofar. And the kids would like it. No, it didn't make any difference what grade they were. The kids in first grade, second grade, I had to speak a little slower. They always enjoyed it. Kids always enjoyed it. They were hypnotized by the story, by the shofar, by this. It was wonderful, wonderful. And I went from school to school. One year I get a call from a school I never heard of before called Kidum Hayela, progressing the child, progressive learning. So I figured maybe these are kids that are progressive, anyway, so I went there and I realized that these are children that they all have, major learning problems. They have Down syndrome, or some of them are autistic, or some of them are this and that. And each one has like a helper, or 2 helpers, and their parents were all there. They made a special party for them before Rosh Hashanah. So when did I realize this? I came in, I wasn't really so paying attention so much to this. I saw there was something a little bit unusual. But anyway, I played the guitar. They liked that. And then I started telling the story. As soon as I started telling the story, the kids had like zero patience. And they were squirming around and moving around, and their helpers were trying to keep them quiet and talk to this. And I realized there was nobody to talk to. These kids weren't. But I figured, okay, I'll tell the story, like usual. I'll tell to the parents, I'll tell to the teachers. But the parents and the teachers, they were involved with the kids, they were. So I don't know if anybody listened to it in any case, but I told the story anyway. That's all that was my act, that's all I could. So I told the story. There were a couple people that were listening that weren't. And then afterwards, I sounded the shofar. This got everybody quiet. Sound the shofar. Okay. Afterwards is Yom Kippur, right? Yom Kippur is 10 days after. Before Yom Kippur, there's a custom to do kapporos. What's kapporot? Kapporot is everybody buys a chicken. Usually the kapporot is done by a butcher store. They bring live chickens, hundreds of them, who knows how many. And I know how to slaughter. I know how to do shchita. I know how to do it. I learned it. I taught it even. So I made a little bit of money for the Chabad house, also for myself. People paid money. You come and everybody gives $1, whatever it is, $2 to the one who does the shchita, who does the slaughter. So there I'm standing there, and people are in a big long line, and they're doing the slaughtering, and the people are coming, and I'm trying to tell them, make this blessing and do this and there's this little kid that's running around just like a madman. He's running around and he's knocking things over. And he's opening up the cages where the birds are, and I have to stop and put this. And also I have this knife in my hand, and the kid is running around like a madman. So I'm standing behind this table, and the people are coming to the table. So I put my knife down in a place where nobody can get the knife, and the kid starts running around. When he runs by me, I grab a hold of him. And I say, stop it. You're disturbing everybody, and it's dangerous. And the kid looks at me and he says, oh, you're Rabbi Bolton. You were by us in school. You told the story about the prince that he ran away from his father. And he told me the whole story. He was one of the kids that was in the school for special education. And I thought nobody was listening. And he told the story, the whole story from the beginning to the end about how the son came back and he screamed and he did. And that's the shofar. Knew the whole story. So it comes to show that you never know who we have a good effect on. You just have to try to have a good effect on people. And that's the sound of the shofar, the inner screaming of the heart. The Rebbe is a mimer. The screaming out of the heart, inner heart of Jews that don't even know they're Jews. And their heart is screaming out from the most narrow place. And that's what's going to bring Mashiach. That God will answer from the widest place. Have a good day with Mashiach. Now, see you tomorrow, and we'll finish this sichad speech of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. Shalom uvracha. See you all tomorrow. Oh, wow, it's really late.